Hello and welcome to another video from Midas Touch Toys, Games and Collectibles. And today we're looking at something that's now quite old, very collectible, and has become quite difficult to find. We are looking at 1997 release by Playmates from their serialized Warp Factor Series 1 series of action figures. And these were all based on the Star Trek The Next Generation and their 10th anniversary. So it was released in conjunction with 10 years since the show first aired on network television. Now, as you know, the show, as I've said, aired from 1987. It ran for 7 seasons and was on right up until May 1994 on a weekly basis. And there was, over the 7 seasons, there was 178 episodes produced. And obviously since then, it has run... been repeated over and over again, and obviously The Next Generation was the second live action series in the Star Trek franchise. A little bit of trivia: each Star Trek The Next Generation episode had a budget of $1.3 million per episode. There we are, and the episodes run for about 45 minutes each. Okay, anyway, let's get back to this item because this is quite a lovely item. So this is the card in front of us, and it says serialized Warp Factor Series 1, and it's got Star Trek spring activated action figures, and it says Star Trek Next Generation 10th anniversary, ages 4 and up, assortment number 16250, and you've got a Playmates logo, and just below that you've got the warning: choking hazard, small parts not for children under 3. It says stock number 16255, and there you can see an image of the USS Enterprise flying through space just here, and it's got Q. And there's an image of Q in action there. And it says real fencing action. And its Galactic gear includes Dueling Sword, Pirate's Musket, Pike, Pirate's Sword, and the Q Continuum Display Stand. Okay, now, before we have a good look at Q himself, let's turn the card round and let's see what we got printed on the back. Okay, so I turn the card around for the back, and this is what's printed on the back. So it's got Star Trek again. It's got Q with real fencing action. It says pose Q in the ready position for dueling. Press the button on his back, and on guard, begin sword play. So by pressing the button, his arm moves up and down, it is up and down with the sword action. It says boldly go when no one has gone before. Collect the entire Playmates Star Trek Combat Action Series assortment. Now, unfortunately, Bandai have put a sticker over the top. Bandai were the UK distributors for Playmates back in the day, and they put their warning sticker over the top there, so you can't actually see the 2 items above Worf and Riker. But it says not suitable for children under 36 months, contain small parts which could be swallowed, and distributed by Bandai UK, and you get all their details there. But we can see you got Lieutenant Commander Worf with the Valkyr combat action and firing Klingon rifle, and you've got Star Trek Next Generation Commander William Riker with phaser rifle draw action and firing phaser rifle. Okay, but this one is Q, and it says spring activated features includes real sword, real spring firing defensive weapon. Incident, really? Spring activated action features includes real spring fired defensive weapon. Well, I don't think the sword fires, it just moves up and down. So I think that's might be a little bit of a misleading quote on the card there. So Q comes with Dueling Sword, is Pike, is Pirate's Musket, the Q Continuum Display Stand, and his Pirate's Sword. And at the bottom left-hand corner, you've got ages 4 and up. You've got a Star Trek logo. It says assortment number 16250 and stock number 16255. You've got the Playmates logo, the Paramount Toys logo, the Playmates Toys web address, and you've got join the official Star Trek fan club, the 1-800 True Fan. And then you've got the library console computer and retrieval system, or the LCARS, of the USS Enterprise NCC 1701D. And the subject is Q, and it reads: the pestiferious Q has been the bane of Starfleet since his species was first encountered by Captain Jean-Luc Picard on the Enterprise D en route to Farpoint Station in 2364. Q is part of the Q Continuum, a highly evolved energy species that exists beyond human concepts of space and time. He once claimed to have an IQ of 2005. Q and his compatriots can assume the form of any creature. This Q is exceptionally mischievous and prone towards testing the mettle of Starfleet Command officers, especially Captain Picard. Although highly annoying and disruptive, Q is rarely lethal in behaviour, although other members of the Continuum are seldom encountered. Reports indicate that they believe their own kind should not live with inferior beings while retaining their awesome powers. There we are. So that is the back of the card. Okay, so without further ado then, let's turn the card back round to the front and let's have a good look at Q figure himself. Okay, so I've zoomed in on the figure itself, and there you can see Q dressed up in his pirate's dueling attire. And I've got to say, that is a very, very good likeness of John DeLance as he appeared in Star Trek The Next Generation as Q, portraying Q, the mischievous being. So the facial features are spot on, and as he was dressed in this attire, he does actually, his hair is spot on to the way he was dressed in this particular episode, with the hat as well. I mean, it does look the part. He does look very, very good, I must say. The sculpting of the face is pretty much spot on there, and you can tell at a glance that is of John DeLance. Okay, so that's him with it. He's got, obviously comes with his hat on, and he's in his medieval dueling attire with his protected armor around his chest, and there he is with his lower garment and his trousers and his boots, and obviously all his accessories are there. So he's got his musket, his pike, his sword and his dagger all there, and just behind him at the back there you can just make out his Q Continuum. I don't know if I can see, yeah, so you might be better off looking at the back. His Q Continuum display stand, and there's a card in the back there. I'm not quite sure what, maybe that's just information, maybe it's a leaflet on the figure itself, so I can't quite see what it is, but I'm sure that's what it is. Okay, now these were slightly larger figures than the standard Playmates figures. Let's just zoom out a little bit and let's get these measurements for you. So this particular figure we are looking at is 6 inches. So we're looking at about 15 centimeters. And if we measure across, well, it's going to be difficult to get his arm right out, but I would say he's about 7 centimeters across. And depth-wise, we're looking at the widest point, probably about 3.5 centimeters deep, and you can just about see the button on the back of his back body there, which would make his arm move when the sword, the dueling sword, is placed in his arm. So articulation wise, as we can see, his neck moves, the top of his shoulder moves, the top of his arm moves, his elbow moves, the hand will be rotated by the circular point at the top of the elbow. So you've got 3 points of articulation on each arm, although the dueling arm might not be that way because it's controlled by spring action, so that probably doesn't have any articulation. The waist is articulate, and of course the legs move up and down, and you've got the side-to-side movement at the top, and you've got the knee joints. So again, you've got 3 points of articulation on each leg. So I can't see any articulation on that sprung-loaded arm, but we do have on the other arm. So 3, 6, 9, 10. There's 11 points of articulation on Q there, and plus you've got the spring activation on the right arm. So again, great series of figures. Nice to have them a little bit bigger than the 4-inch figures. So yeah, I think they've done a very, very good job on this particular range of figures. Slightly bigger, slightly more accurate, and I think this is where they get into the stage where they were gearing things more towards collectors than for playthings for children. So how well did these figures do back in 1997? Well, as with anything that was being released for Star Trek at the time, everything was flying off the shelves. Quite simply, Star Trek was, and had been for some time, the biggest franchise in the world. We've been spoilt with Star Trek television series. We'd had the original series, we'd had the animated series, we'd had the movies, we had Star Trek Next Generation, we had Star Trek Deep Space Nine, we had Star Trek Voyager, and we had Star Trek Enterprise. And also Star Trek Next Generation was now in the movies, and we was being spoilt with those movies being produced. So there was an awful lot of things going on Star Trek, and at that time it was still the largest franchise in the world. Obviously that got taken over by Star Wars once the new trilogy of movies came out in 1999. But prior to that, this was still the biggest franchise in the world. So yes, all the figures sold extremely well. They were limited quantities, obviously produced. As with all the figures, every figure is limited edition. As you know, they run them for a certain amount of time, then move on to the next phase of figures. Let's just have a look to see if there's yep. So as with all of the Star Trek figures, individually numbered on the bottom of the foot. On the back here we haven't looked, but there's a barcode there, and there's the copyright information 1997 on the bottom of the packet there. So yeah, all individual numbered, all individual selective figures, limited editions, and these particular bigger figures, in my opinion, were the best of the smaller scale figures. Now let's move forward 27 years to where we are today, 2024. Do these figures come up very often on the platforms? Well, they do occasionally come up on the platforms, don't get me wrong. You do see them appear on the platforms. Most of the time you see them loose. You don't see them very often now in the sealed packets as we have here. You did used to. There used to be quite a lot of them that come up and were available through the platforms. But as obviously time's gone on, 27 years later, yeah, they just don't appear as they used to, and that's obviously because people have bought them, people are keeping them, people have taken them out of the package and displayed them or whatever. So for multiple reasons, they don't appear anymore very often. And also, if you are buying on a platform, as I tell you over and over again, be very vigilant. Make sure that what you are actually looking at is the item you're going to buy, rather than looking at stock pictures. Read the description, click on the use button, and have a look at the actual item that you will be ordering. Otherwise you could be disappointed. I know so many people have told me how disappointed they are because they think they're ordering new and they end up getting a used item without packaging and missing bits and pieces. So just be vigilant if you are going to order on the platforms. Or alternatively, you can forget all that rigmarole. You can come to us at Midas Touch Toys Games Collectibles, where you know what you get is top quality from us, and unless otherwise stated, it is all mint in the original packaging, as you can see here. And for every item new item we put on the website, there will be a video produced for. And you can get to the Midas Touch website very simply by clicking the link below. It will take you straight there, where you'll be able to find this and many other vintage Star Trek items, and many other vintage toys, games and collectibles come to that. There's over 10,000 products currently available on the website for you to view and purchase at your leisure. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because we're uploading videos for every new item that goes into the website. There will be something for everybody, and I am absolutely positive that this is something that you're not going to want to miss, because we literally have thousands and thousands of new products which we're shooting videos for and uploading on a daily basis. So if there's something in particular you're looking for, something old that you never know how to find, something quirky that you might want to buy for a friend, or perhaps just something from your childhood that you'd like to own again to help you recuperate those long lost childhood memories, well, stay tuned, keep watching, because you never know the next item we upload could be that item you've been looking for. Okay, that is it for me on this particular item. I do hope you've enjoyed reviewing this wonderful Q action figure with me. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next video. So bye for now.